Welcome to the channel. In this video, I'm going to be going over specifically the build that I used in closed beta as well as open beta and the current build that I'm using right now. This is a full melee tank build for New World MMO. This build is focused around CC, damage, and high sustainability. I'll first go over the overview of the build, then follow up with the skills, attributes, and gear, and then conclude with some in-game combat analysis. So I don't like it when people waste my time. I won't waste yours. In the description down below are timestamps specifically to portions of the video that you may find interesting or specific parts of the build that you want to know about. For the overview, as I said before, this is a full melee tank build. Specifically, it's a subtype of the Juggernaut build. Juggernaut build, as many people know, is a build focused around a lot of damage, high CC control, and a lot of sustainability with their health. So, specifically, we're going to call this build the Atlas build, named after the Greek titan Atlas, who's destined to carry the role on his shoulders. You will carry your team on your shoulders, and that will be your main primary goal. You'll keep them alive and prevent the enemies from doing damage to your team. The main drawback for this particular build is going to be its lack of battlefield mobility. Those players who just run away with their tails between their legs, who've been bested, beaten, and at a speck of health, just running literally for their life, you won't be able to get them. And that's a major drawback of this build. We'll go specifically in our combo section and talk about ways that we can kind of even the battlefield in that respect. But for the most part, if they have no intention of killing you, then it'll be at best a stalemate.
Let's get into the skills. So we will be using Sword and Shield and Warhammer. Okay, so for the Sword and Shield skill set, we are going to be building mainly into the Defender tree. We're going to get Achilles heel in the Swordmaster tree, and this is going to be a major slow on our third light attack. We're going to get, Freeing Justice. This is a good move. I've used this. It basically removes a debuff when you do a heavy attack. Remember, I was fighting the archer shooting me with the poison arrows, and I got hit with the AoE from that, and this wolf chasing me. I just turned to the wolf and heavy attacked it right off me. So very useful ability. You can use it however you deem fit. And this is the most important passive in this tree, is why I'm even building in this tree in the first place, is to get this mobility. This mobility is so huge in PvP. As people are attacking, you realize that stamina is like a second health bar to you. So if you can evade an attack that's ranged, or any attack really, just by moving at a speed faster than they can hit you with whatever attack that they're hitting you with, then you can preserve your stamina bar. And that's a very useful skill to learn. So if someone's hitting you with projectiles, you can move side to side pretty fast and making it very hard to hit you. For the Defender tree, we're going to go Shield Rush. So Shield Rush versus Leaping Strike. Shield Rush has passives that align better with what we're trying to do. Mainly the Weakened ability, so this will make you tankier by making them weaker. And the Snare is pretty much procced on just hit. This snare over here on Leaping Strike, you have to hit them in their back, or when they're turned around and running away, and that's so situational. And I know from experience fighting people, if they're moving sideways, so they're trying to get away from you but they're facing at a diagonal, you'll see that as I talk through the combos, me trying to get backstabs where I miss it just by a little bit of an angle. So I can see this being of a similar problem, trying to hit the backstab and get that slow when it'll be very technically difficult to get that. So this is a guaranteed slow on hit, and it weakens the enemy. And it's also a knockback too, knocks them back, so you can knock people right off your teammates. So this will help your team as well. Leaping strike is good for damage and it has a longer range, so it'll probably be better if you're trying to catch people, but at the end of the day, we're trying to preserve our teammates and we're trying to stay alive. We want to get this additional armor, so in the attribute page, there's a Constitution perk that basically gives you health for how much armor you have, so this will give us more health as well. Shield Bash is our bread and butter CC. A lot of the Warhammer abilities that we'll talk about rely on us landing this Shield Bash, so if there's one thing that you should practice, is practice setting yourself up so that you can land this Shield Bash. My go-to strategy, and I'll talk about this in the combos, is to slow them down with our Shield Rush and slow them down with our Achilles Heel, and then when they're slowed and hard to move away from me, I smack them with this and proceed to devastate their entire life. Intimidating Bash, I don't really like this passive too much. I mean, it's useful for that, but I mean, my Bash is not really for damage, but I mean, there are other better passives here, and if I didn't have to take this, I wouldn't take it, but I have to take it. Defiant Stance, this is the move that will give you all your tankiness and it will give you your heal. I use this as soon as it gets up, and I try and keep it up 100% of the time when it's not on cooldown, because then I can fit in a lot more heals. When you're above 50%, increase the damage reduction, and then this is the heal, gives you 15% of your max health back. So that is how we heal in PvP and in PvE consistently. If you want to get this increased duration for our combos, I'll talk about that. You basically hit them with a Shield Bash and you run around them and get that backstab, which is a guaranteed critical damage strike. And with this 1 second duration, you can charge a fully charged heavy attack on the Warhammer. That's 170% weapon damage and really hit them hard. We will get the Weekend and the Snare. We will get Sturdy, so obviously increasing our ability to maintain our block as well. Fortify, increasing our block as well, or increasing our damage resistance while when we get hit while blocking. This increasing our stamina, preventing it from going down when taking ranged attacks. So make us tanky for magical abilities, just overall better for us maintaining. And then this will allow us to heal better from Defiant Stance, from potions, from food, from other people using life staffs that are trying to heal us. We'll just take that in better. And then Defensive Formation. This is, I think, probably one of the strongest abilities in this tree, especially if you're just going for a full team player. And this, it allows you to pretty much tank in PvP as well. Like if your teammate is about to get smacked with a fatal ability, you can hold block and react to that ability for them and basically save them from death at that point. So that's a very good ability to have, and I'll be rocking that even when I'm not, playing with my dedicated team. If I see a random who's also flagged up, I can use this to help them out. You could switch this out for stamina. If you're having trouble keeping your stamina up, because stamina, when you're blocking, you're not taking damage. So in effect, this is like increasing your health. Well, this is increasing your healing. So it's up to you. I've used both, and I think I'd rather take the healing because I can just move around and let my stamina regen. That sums it up for the Sword and Shield. In general, I like the weapon quite a bit. The thing that is technically difficult, or technically something that you should practice with this, is timing your blocks and maintaining your stamina. I would advise that when you're fighting ranged people, instead of just holding block throughout, you just enter block when you feel the projectile is going to hit you, and that will help you maintain your stamina. The Warhammer is one of my favorite weapons. It just does so much damage, and the CC control is just really good. This is like your bread and butter for how you control the battlefield. Primarily, getting the combos off is something that will take some practice, some people will pick this weapon up and they realize that they can't get the combos in because people are dodging them, etc. And I think one pro tip that I had to learn was you don't want to whip out your hammer when someone's on the defensive, when their moves are on cooldown and they're trying to run away or they're trying to, um, just block and dodge and stuff. You want to whip out this when either they're CC'd and you can get guaranteed damage, or when they're in melee range and have intentions of attacking you. The way this game is set up, when someone is on the offensive, they can't really defend themselves, and that's when you just take up that damage, you eat that damage, and you hit them with a CC and guarantee a big hit. The reason why we're going with a lot of strength in this build is when they get CC'd and you smack them, they just die, really. It's kind of crazy how much damage you can push out if you can get in 2 CCs at once and continue that combo chain. So let's get into the moves. We're gonna build mainly into the Juggernaut side, get in the heavy attack as our main DPS. This is gonna grant empowerment, which is gonna be how we start most of our combos after a CC. Mighty Gravel as well. It's gonna be our second form of DPS because it does a lot of damage. We're gonna add Grit to your heavy attacks, so when your heavy attacks are going off, they can't really interrupt it, and that damage decrease at 20% damage reduction is pretty strong in the sense that if you are getting attacked by a lot of people, you can heavy attack someone to execute. And that brings me to the execute passive over here, under 30%, extra 15% damage. Under 30%, Mighty Gravel will do 20% damage. So your heavy attack base is 170% weapon damage. And, at low health, 15% versus Mighty Gravel, 60%, at low health, 20%. So they're roughly around the same amount of damage that they do. So it really is up to you in the situation, whether you want Grit on that attack or whether you want to follow up with Justice for All, which I'll get to in a second. We're going to go with all the passives down in Mighty Gravel. So one does stamina damage, the other one gives you haste. I think this is an absolutely useless ability, in my opinion. This haste is just not long enough, and after I finish with the Mighty Gravel, chances are that's like the end of my combo. And I either am going in for a heavy attack, in which I'm not really chasing the guy, or I'm bar swapping, in which the haste will disappear as I switch over. So, other things I'm getting, we get Armor Pen, so ignore some armor, get the quick recovery. Heavy attacks will decrease the amount of cooldown time. Power Through Pain, this is such a good passive, and when you learn how to use it properly, it just makes your attacks hit so hard. So the way I tend to use it is I combo it with my heavy attacks. I see someone who's low health, and if they go in to attack me, or I predict that they're gonna try and attack me, I charge up my heavy attack. Has Grit, so it's not going to be interrupted with whatever they throw at me, and it just slams them, because if they hit me first before that heavy hits me, it's just it's good night. And so over here we can get Justice for All. This is a second Mighty Gravel hit. It will do 200% weapon damage. The value here is not shown, but it does 200% weapon damage, and that's going to be a very potent attack as well. At the time of making this video, the clips that I'll show in my combat section, I don't have this unlocked, so you won't see it, but in later videos, and if you watch some of my old beta clips where I had this unlocked, I use it as a bamboozling tool. I go into Shockwave, and I'll talk about that in a second. Go into Shockwave, follow in with, a heavy attack that's guaranteed, and then I do another Mighty Gravel first, and they dodge that one thinking that, okay, they just dodged that ability, and then they hop back in. It's kind of like instinctful. They just hop back in thinking that the combo is done, and then you follow in with another Mighty Gravel that actually does more damage. And if they're low health, that combos in with this as well. And if they got hit with Shockwave, and I'll talk about Shockwave, that has this debuff, you're going to get 15% extra damage with this passive. So in Crowd Crusher, we're going to grab this. Not really too applicable for what we're doing. There's nothing better over here. Clear Out, I used to use it. It's very good, but what's better was Path of Destiny so far, what I've experienced for catching those people trying to run away. And this spot is very Path to Destiny is very flexible. You can put in Wrecking Ball or clear out. Oh, I'm not really good with Wrecking Ball, nor have I been hit with Wrecking Ball pretty often, because the radius is so small. It's good in 1v1 stuff, but when you're fighting a lot of people, you want a CC that's gonna hit a lot of people. So this 1.5 radius, people are not gonna be stacked up. Like if you're in PvE, this is good. You can smack a lot of people, but I'd rather go with Path of Destiny that has a large area of effect associated with it, and we'll get its stagger as well. For Shockwave, we're going to get the weaken ability and increase its radius. And we want to get Prevailing Spirit, which is going to heal us using Shockwave and Path of Destiny. More people, the better that you hit with that. And then this Concussive Impact is another thing that we add into our multiplier, is Shockwave plus empowerment from a heavy attack, plus this, plus low health, plus taking extra damage if they just hit you. I mean, you put all those together, and the Warhammer is just a nuking weapon. You can really just obliterate people with this, and that's why I like it. You have to align your combo in such a way that you maximize your damage, and that's something that I'm still refining. I'm still looking for techniques that I can use to fully push this weapon to its full potential. Let's talk attributes now. For the attributes, we start out with 190 points. I've already slotted them in to how I would build it initially. So this is without any gear. You at level 60, you're able to make all the way up to 150 over here, and you can get all the way up to the 50 mark all the way at strength. So with gear, you are actually able to push this down to its max level at 300, and you will be able to push strength, if I remember correctly, all the way to 200, if not slightly less than 200. And that's the main thing that we want to try and do, is to try and push this to its max, full max constitution, and then whatever we have left, we push into strength. The main passive from Constitution, what actually is going to make us tankier, and the main important things that I like in Constitution are going to be these three passives. Oh, tongue twisted. Okay, so max health in proportion to your armor. So we want that. We also want reducing the critical damage that you take. It's also going to be very important in PvP. A lot of the heavy hitting attacks that will hit you will be crit damage attacks. And then this just further increases your health by increasing your armor. And we have a passive in the sword and shield tree that increases our armor as well, which will then increase our health. So by stacking up on armor, wearing all heavy armor, I don't know if I said that earlier, but we will be in full heavy armor, and that will increase our health in proportion to that. For strength, the main thing that we want from here is increased damage of our heavy attacks by 10%, because on Warhammer, heavy attacks are going to be our main DPS. You CC somebody, hit them with the heavy, and you can do a lot of damage to them. This passive, increasing stamina damage, it's a good passive, but not really that important. This would be a nice passive to have if you can push it all the way up to 200 to have that extra damage to stunned and rooted and CC'd opponents. Okay, so let's look at perks for the gear. So I have this website in the description below, so you can specifically look and decide what gear works for you, or what perk will work best for what you're trying to do. For the sword, I will go with Lifesteal, and basically with this, as you do damage, you're going to heal. That is something that I would like to do. With shield, I will go with Sure Footing, and This used to stack with the mobility passive in the beta. I'm not sure if it still does in this current setup. I didn't read any patch notes that said that it didn't, so I assume it does, but I was super fast when I had a shield that had this, and I had that passive. I was just moving literally like someone who was, walking but slowed. And that's pretty fast on a sword and shield bar while blocking. For Warhammer, I will be going with this passive Cruel, and with someone who's CC, this is going to let you do extra damage to them, and majority of our attacks are done on people who are CC'd with the Warhammer. For the armor, I will go with, let's see here, Wilderness Ward, and this is the higher physical damage, lower elemental damage. The other one is higher elemental damage but lower physical damage. We have a passive that decreases the amount of elemental damage that we take, so this will just balance it out. I wear this on all my weapon and all my armor. There's also an armor perk that decreases the amount of crit damage that you take. I don't see it here, but I think that was a thing. I would wear that for PvP for sure. For jewelry, so the amulet right here, specifically, I will want to go with health. I'm always pushing for more health because the more health we have, the stronger our heal from Defiant Stance will be, because that scales with health. For earrings, I'm going to go regeneration, or regenerating. Basically, this will heal us over time, which is very good. People who kite and try and run from us, well, we'll just keep on healing up as we chase them down. With the ring, I will go leeching, so as I'm doing damage, I can heal up as well. So a lot of the passives I'm trying to go for are passives that actively increase my health, or give me some sort of heal, because we don't have a lot of heals on this current build. Some of the passives, from Warhammer allow us to heal and Defiant Stance, but overall, it's not like we have a life staff, and our health is high, but once it gets low, it's fairly difficult to bring it back up.
Okay, let's start with the combat. So, general rule of thumb, you want to use your sword and shield bar anytime you're fighting people who are long ranged or people who are running away. You want to switch to your Warhammer off of a CC. You always want to go to the back and kind of get guaranteed backstab, which is a crit damage attack. You also want to use your Warhammer when the person is offensive. So in this fight, we just push in a couple of heavy attacks, light attacks, shield rushing, and some shield bash with some guaranteed attacks, and we're able to clean that guy out. In this next fight, we fight a hatchet user over here, so we throw a heavy and break his guard. We run to the back, get a guaranteed mighty gravel off the shockwave, charge up another heavy. He's able to dodge it, and he's able to dodge the Path of Destiny as well. We charge in that heavy, hit him with the shield rush, throw in a couple of light attacks. He interrupts us. We dodge back over there, charge up another heavy as he's on the offensive, but he switches over to the defensive, and he's able to get out. We're able to get a fully charged heavy attack crit off that shield bash and another fully charged heavy for the win. Good fight. In this next fight, I start out with the shield bash going to the behind for a guaranteed crit, followed with Path of Destiny. He walks out of the Path of Destiny, and this is a fight where we're going to be chasing an individual who is playing on the defensive. So this is not a situation where you want to whip out your hammer and try and get in heavy attacks or try and get in, your shockwave. So we want to stay on the sword and shield bar because we have two abilities that slow. We have the shield rush and our light attacks. So we enter the hammer for the Path of Destiny, which is our long distance attack, which is able to slow him down a little bit, and he gets caught in this rock, which is to our advantage. We get him with a shield bash into a mighty gravel, instantly take him out. This other guy does not realize that he's dueling me, which is kind of unfortunate because he started with a disadvantage in that respect. We're able to get in, a couple of lights to slow and the shield rush to slow him down. He pops berserk to try and heal up, but we're not allowing it. We run over to him, we get him with the shield bash, run behind, get a crit, guaranteed crit, and then we followed up with a shockwave and a Path of Destiny with another light attack, heavy attack to take him out. This was a challenging duel with a mage using an ice staff and fire gauntlet. No, ice gauntlet and fire staff. Yeah, so he hits me with this blizzard, and that is a move that really penetrates our defense because we're slowed over there, and I don't want to release block because I get lit up with his ranged defense, or ranged offense, sorry. So we fill him up with a couple of light attacks. We hit him with a shield bash, a fully charged heavy attack, and what he did there was absolutely insane. He entered a tomb, you know, to prevent himself from dying from that one attack. It was almost like he did it on reaction, which was very impressive. But we were able to clean him up with a couple of light attacks. Good fight. This is a 1v2 battle that I was fighting. This man just leveled up. He runs to the side, doesn't know that I see him over there. Pop Defiant Stance, get my armor buff up. I hit him with a shield rush. The other guy CCs me, so I CC him back. I can't follow through with any damage because his teammate's on there. Looks like both of them are using Spear, which is a lot of CC. I hit them with the Path of Destiny, and this little rock on the side prevents me from, you know, tracking with my attack. So I jump down, and both of them follow me down to the floor over here. They put in a lot of damage into me. I knock them back a little bit, put that weaken so they don't take my health down too much. I eat some food, I pop my potion. I'm ready to start fighting again. Hit him with the shield bash, charge up my heavy, smack him with the heavy, hit him with a shockwave with both of them, followed in with the heavy that hits both of them. That other guy just melts, and it's just one person left. I hit him with the Path of Destiny into a fully charged heavy attack and take him out. Yeah, it was a really challenging battle, and what really helps in this build is knowing your strengths and your weaknesses. I wanted them to be in close combat so my attacks can hit both of them simultaneously, and they were both close combat individuals, which was to our advantage. We fight this healer guy, and he hits us with that riposte. That riposte is such a good ability, and we were able to, you know, hit him with a shield bash into a guaranteed backstab. Throw in a Path of Destiny, Mighty Gravel misses, and now we just kind of clean him up with some light attacks, just butter him up a little bit, and we're just charging, we're playing on the defensive slowly as he's with range, and we use our sword and shield bar to really protect ourselves. Another mage, I pop Defiant Stance for the extra defense. Right now he hits us with a lot of abilities. I'm able to get the shield rush on him with 3 lights to slow him down into a shield bash, which stuns him. And then now a fully charged heavy shockwave misses. I hit him with the Path of Destiny. He's all the way over there on the side. He pops his potion. I'm trying to get him with some line attacks. That blizzard does so much damage to me, just goes right through my block. So I try and stand out of that and make sure that he can't attack me. He kind of CCs me or slows me down into that ice, whatever that thing was. And he hits me, well, he gets into this tomb trying to reset the fight. It's okay. We're waiting for our moves to get off cooldown. We have to get out of this blizzard, but we don't want to release our guard before he blasts us with his ranged DPS. When you're not blocking, those hits can do a lot of damage. So we pump in a couple Warhammer attacks. And now pop Defiant Stance now that it's filled up, and I throw in some light attacks for the slow. And he's trying to be offensive, and when a ranged person tries to be offensive, you can really close that distance with sword and shield. That's so important, and the major limitation that you'll see is mainly from people who don't want to fight you and that you try and run away. Those are the people that you'll have trouble with. But if they have intentions of killing you, then you can close the distance effectively, as you see in all these clips. So this other person, another ice gauntlet, like, you'll be surprised how many people you see with ice gauntlet. But anyways, I was flagged up for PvP, and I chose to be violent. This man was just doing his own thing, but I decided I was going to attack him anyways. So I go in with 3 light attacks for the slow, and he does very well by dodging and by moving back consistently, making my attacks hard to hit, or at least the Warhammer attacks. So I switch over to my sword and board, and I only go into Warhammer when I know that he's CC'd, or when, you know, I can really land that Path of Destiny shot from a long distance. So I run over here, and I'm moving from side to side. See, I'm not choosing to hold my block so I can get my stamina, have my stamina up for when I go right in close distance. And I hit him with 3 light attacks followed by a shield bash, and it's just that one mistake. He made one mistake or like 2 mistakes, and it's just like 50% of his health both times, just with like 2 or 3 combos that we got him with. It was very well played on his part. That's the strength of this build. It's just a couple mistakes and you can really destroy somebody. In this fight, I see this higher level. He decided to come and attack me. He was the one who decided to be violent here, but I open it with open hands. So I follow him with the combat combo, hit him with the shield bash into a guaranteed backstab heavy, into a shockwave, into a guaranteed heavy, and I followed up with the Path of Destiny and the Mighty Gravel. I have no idea how he survived that whole combo, but he's super tanky. And you can see here, he hits me with his Warhammer combo, and if you look at my health, in the span of like 4 or 5 seconds, it went from 100% to nearly like 25% just from his combo. And that's something that's just so strong. You know, if like he knows how to use his weapon, and that's what makes it powerful. I don't think it's overpowered by any means. I just think that if you practice with it and you get better with it, then you can most definitely push out a lot of damage. And this guy was just, you know, hitting me from the back. I just didn't really know what was hitting me. I turn around and I see this dude, so I follow him up with a couple of attacks, do some range defense to close that distance, follow him with the shield bash into guaranteed crit heavy, and he interrupts my Path of Destiny, but I finally get it off into fully charged heavy into Mighty Gravel and send him to sleep. Good game, good night. I turn around and I pop my Defiant Stance for some heals, and yeah. This next fight over here, I am fighting this musket user, and this was an extremely good fight. This is an example of a fight where the player is super defensive and is playing very tactically. And with these people, I included this solely for this reason, to show that when you're fighting these people, Warhammer is just not the way to go. You want to be on your sword and shield bar, because with that bar, they can't penetrate our defense at a range. Now, if he's trying to kill us, he cannot penetrate that shield, provided we time our blocks properly. And all we have to do is just slowly creep up on him and try and get in a triple light attack or a shield rush to slow him down. So we got him with a triple light and he's dodging, and he knows our moveset, so he dodges appropriately and he keeps his stamina pretty well. You know, he just dodged that shield bash, and I'm throwing out these lights, and basically I'm just trying to slowly whittle him down. Just a couple of hits I can get in. Warhammer, I throw in my Path of Destiny. Is pretty much the only move that I'll be able to hit him with. See, Shockwave won't hit him. My heavy attacks won't hit him. Mighty Gravel won't hit him. So you just gotta be on the sword and shield bar and take it slow and move across. Right now, this is one of the final clips over here. I'll just have this clip play with one more clip playing in the background, but this is just me and the boys. You know, we're falling down from the top of the fort to defend it like the devil falling from heaven right now. And you see these people over here, I hit them with a shockwave, turn to the back, boys just clean up these two people. And I send that Path of Destiny over to the side. I see this other person, find my teammate. I level up over here, and I charge that heavy attack on the sword and shield to knock him out. And John Lee over here is hitting people with the snipes, doing a ton of damage from afar, as me and Nick, we run in to go in for some melee damage, etc. So it was a 3v3 after 3v2, and we're able to get these people out. John Lee finished that person off. They're focusing Nick over here. I go and try and help him. I shield rush to close that distance faster, and then I see this other person over here, hit him with the shield bash into a charged heavy, and then we both finish that person off. So there's a little bit more footage left, but I just want to use this time to close off the video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. I'm not at full 20 mastery at the making of all these clips, but in future videos where I am in full mastery, I will consider making another combat guide, or at least just do the combat commentary. If you all find that helpful, let me know in the comments, and I can really do that, and it's not really a problem. And just to reiterate what I've been saying before, like, this whole entire build just relies on you stacking up your combos appropriately and knowing how to use the weapons that you're playing with. You know, like knowing what Warhammer is good at versus what Shield is good at. And for that, you know, Warhammer is good at the damage, Shield is good at its defense. ranged and high mobility, you go with your shield and Path of Destiny from Warhammer. You get someone with the CC, you want to go with your Warhammer for the big, heavy combos. So that pretty much wraps up the whole entire video. I hope you all enjoyed, and you can watch the remaining clip. Thanks. Peace.